Hello there. What's up? Welcome to Project Freelance. If you are new to the podcast, my name is Kay Nagonio. I am your host here on this podcast, and every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I bring you a new episode featuring a different guest from a different industry to share how they built their career as a freelancer. So this week on the podcast, I have LennyJ, and he is a music producer. He's a session player. He does mixing and mastering. He tours with bands. He does a whole lot of stuff in the music world. And I wanted to have him on the podcast to share his story, how he got started, how he built his business, how he actually started an LLC for his business, and how he found his worth, some advice for you guys. And he actually asked me a couple questions on the podcast, which is kind of cool. So you'll hear a little bit more information about me on this podcast. And yeah, I'm super excited for this episode. Before we jump into it though, I need to let you guys know I have a book out called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. And that book is full of stories and photographs from my time exploring abandoned places. This is something that I do when I'm not freelancing as a videographer or a photographer, or when I'm not making music. So if you guys want to check that book out, I actually have a new website, notracers.com. Oh my God, I bought the domain. It is real. It is happening. You can go see all the photos, the blog posts. You can see the videos, hear the No Tracers podcast. Oh yeah, by the way, Project Freelance audience, I started another podcast called No Tracers where I talk about urban exploring. So if you want to hear my stories and the stories of other explorers, go find No Tracers. I'll put a link down in the description if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, you can definitely pick up a copy of my book. That would help me out a ton. And just a note, if you're listening to this after June 5th, I have an EP out called Pandemic. You should go check it out. It's on all streaming services. We have merchandise. We have masks. We have all kinds of really cool stuff. So if you guys are interested, definitely check out Pandemic. It's under Kay Nagonio. That's my name. Just find me and check out some music. I need to take a second to thank our first partner, which is Liquid Death Water. I am now a death peddler. If you don't know what Liquid Death Water is, don't worry. You've got an ad coming in 3, 2, 1. From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. All right, let's jump into this episode. Lenny, can you please introduce yourself and what it is you do to the Project Freelance audience?
All right, my name is LennyJ. I am a songwriter, producer, guitarist, and I am an artist as well. And I am a mix and mastering engineer.
So you do a lot of different things. What came first for you in the music world?
Well, yeah, I do a ton of different things, wear a bunch of different hats. One of my favorite accessories, let me tell you. So what came first was my friend asked me if I could learn a guitar part of the song Fat Lip by Sum 41 back in like high school. And I said, sure, give me the guitar. Let me try it. And then I didn't know what I was doing. And I grabbed the guitar and I started writing melodies. And back then I should have known I was a songwriter. But instead I just practiced guitar and wrote songs and didn't do anything with them. Then I made a band, started being an artist, and then started recording finally, like at studios. And then went to college and was like, wow, paying for life and studio recording is too much. Apparently there's some program where you could get it and you could record yourself. And then someone showed me it and then I began recording. And then one day I said, I think I can make some money off this. And then my freelancing life began. That's a long story.
When you were in college, did you study anything like music related while you were there?
I did. I studied I started with biology at one college, and I was doing well in that and everything, but I didn't love it. So I was like, I want to do business. I like planning things. I liked running shows in high school. Like I was making money, and I was like, I could set things up. It's not just about, I want to be in a band and tour. That wasn't the goal per se. Of course, I wanted to be a rock star, but, there's a lot more to it than just jumping in the van, even though it could be that. But I just thought, I could make some money off it. So that's how I got through it in college. If that was a question, I'm sorry. I talk a lot.
No,
There's something Jack Antonoff does. He's a songwriter producer from Fun, and he also does all the Taylor Swift stuff. And I felt so happy as a person when he was speaking at a live Q&A and the person asked a question and he started talking, and about 30 seconds later, he was like, sorry, I just think about everything. I don't remember the question. And it was like 30 seconds, and I totally do that too. And at that point, I've never felt more accepted.
Yeah, I think it's because as a creator, as an artist, our brains are always moving a million miles a minute. We have a million things going on inside our heads. I'm the same way. I forget what we're talking about all the time on the podcast. And I'm like, wait, what did I ask you?
Yeah, but so mixing came first, but if that's where we were.
Yeah. So what was like the first project that you mixed? Like, have you listened to it back recently? Like, have you gone back and like listened to your old mixes to see like how you've progressed and things like that?
Of course. I'm really proud of that work, and it sounds not great, obviously, but I am proud that I took on clients at that time. It was a few years ago, and it all started because I put up a Facebook status that said, I want to try recording someone for free or cheap, whatever it was. And I would love to try hip hop today. I was on a hip hop kick, and my friend tagged his friend, who then came to me and liked what I did, and we did it for free. Then he started paying me, very low prices. But then he told a friend to come to me, who then told his cousin, who had friends, and my whole career started because of one comment. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Like all my clients, like all the money I've made for like the first 6 to 8 months were just that one person's comment leading to new people. And then after like that 8 months, I started to even go out to open mics and hand out business cards and go up to every act that went. Because at the open mics, it's usually the newbies trying out their songs. There's some, vet people that go to and just absolutely kill it. And I think that's hysterical because everyone's like, this is my first time. And then you got someone who's like a pro that goes up. But I would go up to all the newbies and the pros too and say, hey, you're cool. Like the clients I thought I would fit with, because I think being a good producer is knowing where you belong. But in the beginning, you kind of just go everywhere to make money. But I would go to open mics and stuff, and that was cool and all. But I'll tell you that I made 99% of my income as a freelancer just from knocking it out the park for one person, and they just told a friend. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I think that social media is huge, especially when you're trying to get your ground built, your foundation built. And like you did, you just posted a Facebook status. I mean, I post on Instagram, I get leads through Instagram, through my website, things like that. So it's always very interesting to hear how social media has had an impact on different freelancers. So it's amazing that you were able to, launch your career off of one Facebook comment. It's absolutely incredible. So, I mean, obviously, congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. Especially because I didn't plan on being a mix and mastering engineer, and that's not the end goal. I still do it because people ask me to do it, so they must like what I do, and I do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's fun and everything, but I want to produce, write, and do my artistry the most. So, yeah, but it's funny how that turned into kind of a full-time career, and I had to, become a business and everything because it was doing half right, which is a goal, and I'm fortunate for that. And yeah, it's just funny though, because you go in thinking one thing and then you end up doing another. But just going back to social media, I wanted to point out that it is a powerful tool. And I wish for every artist and freelancer, though, to, of course, want those million followers, the 2 million, but understand that if you had 1,000 followers and 200 of them were your clients and they did one song each for $300 in that year, like, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about if you could get one person to tell a friend, even with photography or whatever it is you're freelancing, if you could get one gig from one person, they could tell one other person, it's amazing to get that million followers, and that will come. But you could do a lot with the little you have and literally make a living with a few clients. You don't have to have this full-fledged business. You don't need an office in downtown LA or in, New York City, in Gramercy, or wherever it may be. You really could do a lot with the little you have, and it's up to you to take a little opportunity and turn it into, that $1 million. So that's something I wish I thought about back then too. I was always thinking, I need to go get a ton of clients. I need to do this. I need so much work coming in. But then when one came in, I made use of it and realized, if I could get them to do a few songs and then they tell one person, you really could build better like that, I think, because you stop putting this pressure on yourself and this stress, because it is hard to get 100,000 people to follow your page, and that still won't equate to what your actual business is. Of course, it will help. Don't get me wrong, but that's just a little bit of advice. Just know that you could turn one person into one client into your career. All it takes is that one client to get you going.
Right. And there's this thing called social capital, which is where you basically cultivate a relationship with somebody that you will both mutually get something out of, So for you, social capital building would be, like you said, getting one person to do a couple songs and then telling somebody about it. And then they come to you, and then their friends come to you, and then it just keeps building and snowball. There's a snowball effect. Once you start building that momentum, it doesn't stop. It just keeps on going.
Yes. And it's so fragile too, because it can stop.
Yeah.
The snowball can crumble at any second if you stop. But yes, absolutely. That snowball effect, it really is a thing. As rare sometimes as it seems, it is. It's real.
And then, so you started out doing, free work, cheap work, giving people the homie rate, as we like to call it. So how long did it take you to go from doing work for, a lower rate to something you were comfortable with, something that started paying your bills? Like, how long did that take for you?
So that took a little less than a year. Until I went from freelancing I'm still a freelancer, but as in the beginning stages of the homie rate to starting to charge to strangers and all that. It took about a little less than a year, and that it was a lot of work to do that. When I say like it took effort, when I mean I was at open mics in New York City, because I'm originally from New York City. So I would go to the open mics a few times a night, and I would, like I said, hand out the cards, and that would lead to almost no clients. It was so tough. And then I would go to shows. I would go up to all the opening acts. I would ask friends. I would message hundreds of bands, like thousands, every day. Like every day, a few hundred bands, make a list of them. I have all the lists saved still. I would do that. Facebook messages, Instagram messages, Twitter, this and that. It's all that hustle mentality. So with all that work, that's what led to the full-time numbers, because it became a bunch of strangers coming to me, to the point of, they weren't the homies anymore and they were looking for work. And then I was taking it seriously. I quit my job so I could do it full time. So I needed to charge, and that's how that changed. And I always still hook up the homies, honestly. And I think it's I sometimes do it too much, but deep down, I feel like there is no too much. I just like to do it. But people often tell me I need to cut that out, but I never will. Always for the homies.
Yeah, I think that's cool, honestly. Like, I think that you still have like that rate for your close friends. And I I appreciate that as an artist coming to even a producer, you know, that I'm friends with. For example, I mean, working with you, we've done covers together. I work with Eric Ferraro. We've done a ton of stuff together, and you guys are super close friends of mine. And as an artist, I'm super grateful for the opportunity to work with you at that lower rate so that we can get more done. You know what I mean? And
yeah. And thanks for working with me too. And I think, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
You can
good.
keep going. I was just bouncing off that because I think of it like this. We're all just humans. So I think, and, and okay, you're working, right? You do photo, you do music, but you don't produce, you don't mix, you don't engineer, you don't play guitar.
Yeah.
So then you come to me, you need stuff. I could charge you, but I think about how, wow, she's a great videographer and she's nifty with the photos and she could do artwork and she's a dope screamer and she also does covers. If maybe I don't charge you for a project, then you're going to hook me up as a thank you with, let's say, the cover stuff. And that's not because you do one thing, I do another. We know that if my music is doing well, that means your artwork will do well. And then the stuff you did, and if your cover does well, it'll help you. And then that'll get me more work and that'll make your career go more. And we all just need to help each other.
Exactly.
It's simple. Like, there really shouldn't be gatekeepers in the sense that only a few are in there. I think we could all do things that will help each other without hurting the bank and without it seeming like we're just asking for favors. That's why I think communication, being very clear and knowing who good people are, is key, like having that recognition. And I appreciate that. I get to talk with you and chat and do work and scream my face off and headbang till my neck hurts the next day. And I look forward to us continuing that. So
as do I've loved, you know, getting to know you, getting to work with you over the past, you know, couple of months. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what we do in the future. We've got, you know, some covers that we're going to be working on. We've got, for people listening, we're, you know, hopefully we've got some Chasing Satellite stuff in the works. That would be really cool.
That would be so cool.
So what
Your stuff
about
is so great.
times have you ever been screwed over by anybody? This is a question that some people on the podcast.
I have, and I'm not going to say names,
Good.
but I've been screwed over by people that I listened to my whole life, and now I don't listen to them, and it hurts. But I'm fortunate to have reached the point where working with those people, and some of them are great, they really are, but everyone's a different person, and unfortunately, I've had some bad experiences with people, you know, like I said, I used to jam too, but yeah, people, they do try to get over on you. And it's really disheartening to me. And you got to know your worth and stick up for yourself and never be scared to, like I said, stand up for yourself, because it's not an argument or a confrontation per se. If someone is trying to hurt what you do and you're defending yourself, that's right, you know? So don't let yourself get taken advantage of. So
yeah, and I think every freelancer goes through that. You know, I've been screwed over plenty of times, and it's a huge learning experience every single time it happens. What have you learned from those experiences?
You learn how to walk into every project professionally after that. You know, even let's say you and I are working together, we'll figure out logistics from the beginning and get it out the way, or you're super clear. But sometimes you get, you know, they try to take advantage of you when you do something and you're the one who's getting the most out of it. They'll try to use it in their favor and give you, you know, a lesser percent or this or that. And at that point, you just gotta be able to say, look, that's not right in a way, unless you know, you are absolutely on your last string of hope and you need to take the gig and it'll make you some money. Sometimes you have to, you know, like we've all had our backs against the wall and you never want to give in and accept bad deals, but sometimes you could take that bad deal and let's say you only make $10 out of it, turn that $10 into 100. You could do it, you know, like there's a time and place, but you deal with it by knowing your worth, sticking up for yourself, and just being aware. You got to be aware, be on top of your stuff. And I'm sure you handle it in a similar fashion. Just don't take crap, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to say the more bullshit you're throwing at me, the more you have to pay me. Mm-hmm. Because I'll handle your bullshit, but it's got to be worth it.
Yeah, and there's a difference between dealing with some extra work from like a client that just doesn't have their stuff together and then someone blatantly trying to hurt you.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's how I deal with it, though. You know, just being aware. That's all it is. You got to know what's happening at all times.
So you had mentioned that you became a business. Do you have like an LLC?
Yes, I do, and I just run it under as my audio company, LennyJ Audio.
Okay.
And under that is just what I do. I just made LennyJ Audio because that was a name I thought of quickly. I go by LennyJ for my artist work, which is coming out soon, just postponed, as you would know. And I just made an LLC because I was making money and I was receiving checks from companies and wires, you know, that's beyond the, hey, you want to come over for $100 session.
Right. So
when they're sending you the forms for taxes and everything, you know, you don't want to have to run to Canada or Mexico right now and hide for tax evasion. Just make your business, pay your taxes, and write everything off as an expense, and you'll be good.
And for your LLC, for people that, you know, don't have one, I don't even have one. I need to get one. That's my goal for this year, is to, you know, form an LLC just to cover my ass, essentially. So can you walk me through that process of, you know, setting it up, finding the name, doing like how much it costs, that kind of shit?
So it all depends. I did it through one of my buddies. He's a lawyer, so he was able to help me out. And I know it ranges from a few $100 maybe to a little more or less, depending how you do it. I think you could do it on sites like TurboTax or something, or you could go and get it done. It could be different by state, because I'm an LLC in the state of New York. So technically when I'm out in LA, I get paid and I get taxed like as New York would, I think. I don't know. I could be saying this completely wrong, but I do know, you know how we're getting like stimulus checks and everything. I believe there was talks about like businesses from California getting stimulus checks, but I'm not eligible for that, even if I'm doing all my work here right now. I'm still in New York City.
Right.
But you know what I mean? But getting into it was just, and forgive me if any of that info is incorrect. I'm not the lawyer. I'm not the business person. I just make noises for a living.
No, you're good.
I just did it through my lawyer, and he helped me set it up. And you got to take care of like the articles of organization, which is just like a newspaper clipping that says you're a business. I think that's really funny. Like they got to put a post in a local paper because it proves like you're real. It literally would just say like Kay's photo, like a little clip, like in the classified. It's weird. Like, I don't know. It was interesting, but that's the sum of it. It's really easy. It's easy to figure out if you just look up how to form an LLC. And you should, the reason you should do it, I think, is because at least for certain companies I dealt with, they like wouldn't pay my personal name. They wanted to know the company. They wanted the business account. And I know that seems like weird, but it was, I don't know, it's what this company wanted. And it was actually a bigger company that I fortunately got to work with. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll do it. I was still beginning. Maybe there was a way around it, but at the end of the day, I have the company set up and everything's legit if I ever need to do anything, you know. So I'm just running it as it is anyway. It didn't like make a huge difference that I am a company or am not, except it's just some more paperwork for me to deal with around tax season.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get that.
And it sounds super legit when I'm like, send a wire to LennyJ Audio. Like, it sounds so official.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. I would love to just be like, send a check to just the letter K, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
LLC.
Yeah. With the address. It sounds so official.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of your influences music-wise. Who have you looked up to? Who have you taken inspiration from?
Powerline from a Goofy movie.
Yes, son.
What else? Oh, Chip Skylark. Who else? Oh, The Beats from Doug. Shout out to anyone that knows that. If she don't, she's too young for you, bro. Leave that to her. No, my musical influences are Linkin Park, A Day to Remember, Blink 182, Drake, and Taylor Swift. Those are my
You
babies.
got it unlocked.
Those are my. If I had to like choose at gunpoint right now, bam, that's what I'm giving you. We got Linkin Park was the original that got me into everything that made me like, wow, genre doesn't exist. I believe they could put out Hybrid Theory right now and it would be as successful.
They were so ahead of their time with that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything they do is a little bit ahead because it sounds like you could drop any of their albums right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's key. It doesn't sound dated to me at all, even though rock and that new metal genre does sound like early 2000s. It's still so advanced technologically with like trap hi-hats and triplets, and like that didn't even come into like 2015 and like rap to the mainstream, and they were doing it with bass drops and subs like in 99 2000. And to me, that's like everything I believe in with music, just destroying boundaries and screaming over hip hop beats and then throwing 808s under the rock two-step choruses instead of the bass guitar alone. Like, so yeah, they taught me that. And then Blink taught me everything about melody and being a little more punk rock and just not caring, and being loud and staying catchy though, having those melodies and those harmonies and those, man, over the fast drums, but then singing like held out notes like in the melody with like the kind of offbeat like dun 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 dun, like the fact that they were singing that over the fast drums and guitar was just crazy to me. Very like Goldfinger, like John Feldman, a producer that like really inspired me and still does. But yeah, those are the people. And then, Drake and Taylor, because I think Taylor Swift is such a phenomenal melody writer. She pretty much writes A Day to Remember lyrics, like melodies, and vice versa. They're the same thing to me, just different instrumentation. Mm-hmm. And that's what I get out of those. And A Day to Remember just taught me to follow your dreams and do whatever you want and combine screaming with the catchiest pop punk. And again, breaking down boundaries. All these artists I named do things that really intertwine lots of genres, even if some of them do it with that, like not as extreme as Linkin Park. Like I think Blink was so ahead with how they were pop punk and pop melodies. And I know that sounds simple, but what I really took out of it really shaped what I do in music. Mm-hmm. And here I am, as a writer for a living. So I don't know, it really stuck to me. And I personally love those artists for what they do. And they've, inspired me along the way.
Yeah.
But there's, plenty more artists from all different times, like Bryan Adams, Motley Crue and all that, like Richie Valens, Beach Boys. I love a lot of the stuff. Gotta have swag like Sinatra, be a Don, all that plays a part. Gotta study your ancestors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to Jacob
Monroe. Your predecessors, I should say, not your ancestors.
Yeah.
Your predecessors, predecessors. Well, you learn a lot from your ancestors.
They're not that old.
No, they're not.
But I was talking to Jake Monroe last night about Linkin Park, and because Chester was a huge influence on both me and Jake as vocalists.
Yeah,
and everybody.
Yeah,
he influenced all of us, like rest in peace to him. But I mean,
yeah, that was a horrible day.
Yeah, we literally.
I had band practice that day, and I was just like, this is not a good day. But anyway,
I was
talking about Chester.
I was on Warped Tour, and everybody that day was just in tears playing Linkin Park tributes. It was like, it was such a hard day for everybody.
I was going to see them and Blink in 3 days. Ugh. Yeah. But that got canceled.
Yeah.
When I got the Live Nation thing, it was like, here's a refund. We're sorry. Like, unfortunately, events have happened. And the singer, I'm like, yeah, I know. You don't got to explain it. I think I know. And I don't know. That really hurt. My mom even was like hysterical because she knew like I love Linkin Park and stuff, like growing up. And like my PlayStation like name is Linkin Park in it, and that was my AOL Instant Messenger screen name. I just made it my PlayStation name because I don't know, those times like everyone's like, oh, that's back then. I'm like, no, that's what made me, and it still feels right to me. So I don't think of music as necessarily old. I feel like what I like and what I really love feels timeless to
For
me.
sure.
And I think that's for me the key of music. It brings me that nostalgic and timeless feel, and that's what I try to present in music. But yeah, I'm very much aware, of everyone's love of Chester and especially you and the music you do. And I even bring it in like how on the Junior track I dropped,
Right.
for people listening, I dropped a song that I made in quarantine. I made a bunch of songs. I'm going to be just releasing them. They're fun under the name Junior. And even in that melody, I'm like, doing a fast hook. Life is so high key, off white Nike, took it to the crib. Now a dude out here trying to fight me, like playful, like hip hop type banter. But then I start singing, and I wanna take you home. Like that's so Chester.
So Chester.
Cause I feel so all alone. Yep. And the reason I said that, like, I wanted to go from the point of that whole song was like, I kind of say I wrote and produced the song, but then I say, now life is so high key, off white Nike, took her to the crib, now her dude out here trying to fight me. When I think of this, it isn't very much quite like me. Take me to the days when I was sipping on that high C. It's not to brag about bringing people home. It's about like, what am I doing? Like, why is this guy fighting me? I didn't mean to disrespect him. It's almost like you're explaining the crazy lifestyle and you're not meaning to be that jerk of a rock star. Yeah. It just so happens people lie like the person you're with and you didn't realize they had a partner and stuff. But switching to that Chester part, which was the point of it, even though lyrically what I wrote in that song, when I sing that Chester type melody with the harmonies and stuff, I say, and I want to take you home because I feel so all alone. I never said why I want to take you home. It's the why is because I'm lonely. I didn't say we're messing around or anything. Everyone thinks it's like a rap bragging, but then they don't realize the first hook I say, she says, can you take me home somewhere we could be alone? And then I say, and I want to take you home because I feel so all alone. It's like a way like, whoa, that got real very fast. I thought he was bragging about bringing a girl home, but it's like, no, Chester brought you to that place that was like, oh, I thought I was just rapping and having fun, but this is a message.
Yeah.
He has something to say.
Yeah.
He's hurting. People are hurting and people are relating. So I wanted to put a spin on modern type MySpace music, which I thought was a great era as well, with Hollywood Undead and even Linkin Park and all that. And I wanted to make some hip hop type, rock music, but I feel like these SoundCloud rappers and all of them, they're a bunch of them are doing well. It's cool music. I love the pop punk influences. I appreciate what they're doing, but they're all very sad. They're all very ran by drugs and pills, and they push that to cope with pain. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to explain you can have a crazy lifestyle, and I actually never promote, taking pills and all that. I'm actually like scared about that stuff. I don't want anyone dying. I'm like a scaredy cat in life and like anxiety driven. So, it makes me nervous when people sing about that stuff because they're so young too.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show like you could be real and have lyrics that say something deeper than just, oh, I'm out here bragging or I'm sad. Like I want there to be a solution. I want to be the hand for them and the voice that shows them, not that it's just okay to be sad, but you can get out of it, and two, don't turn to substance, please. So that whole message in there, I think is something that Chester would do. He had his own way of doing it. His lyrics were beautiful, and Mike Shinoda, they were wizards, with the pen. But I try to do mine in my way, and I just appreciate how they did it. And in a similar fashion, I want to continue that message, of you could do it still. And that's what Day to Remember does, and Linkin Park, and like as sad and emo the lyrics get, I want to still have that light in there. That's the point of it. And even my LennyJ music that's coming out, as you heard, that is literally straight up just about perseverance, taking over your life and being the best you could be, being that person for others when they don't have someone, or being that person you wish you had when you didn't have someone. That's the brand of LennyJ. And, you know, that's also what I would get out of Linkin Park, and especially A Day to Remember. So that's how, like, that stuff, I intertwine it. But thank you, Chester and Mike, for teaching me all this.
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel the same way. You know, it's such a huge...
I feel like I go on rants. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's a podcast. It's for ranting. It's literally...
I know. I never did one. It's my first one. Hey. So I'm like, am I talking too much?
No, you're literally doing perfect. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah. I listen to podcasts all the time, so I know they just talk and stuff. But then I'm like, what about you, Kay? Talk to me. I'm still going to interview you one day.
I mean, I'll talk to you. Ask me a question. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. What about you? What are some of your influences, and how have you learned from them some positive things that you pass on to fans that watch you?
Good question. I mean, obviously Chester was a huge influence on me as a vocalist, just both screaming and singing. And then with him, the same kind of thing. Like, you know, I write a lot about dark shit. Like I write a lot about stuff that I go through, or stuff that I've been through, or stuff that I've witnessed. Like my song Split, that I'm sure people have heard, that song is literally about me thinking my brother was like possessed by the devil when I was a kid, because he's got some mental things that he struggles with on a daily basis. And when I was a kid, my parents didn't know how to explain to me what was going on with him, and he would talk to himself. And the only thing I knew was from like Catholic church, what being possessed meant. You know what I mean? So I literally thought my brother was like possessed by the devil and was speaking in tongues. And I would literally lay on the floor next to the bathroom and try to understand what he was saying while he was in the shower. You know what I mean? Like while he was in the bathroom talking to himself, I would try to figure out what he was saying. So the song Split is very much about, you know, this demon that is inside of all of us that isn't necessarily a demon. It could just be another personality that you're dealing with, that you're fighting, that you're struggling. So I got a lot of inspiration from, you know, Linkin Park songs, and bands like Atreyu were huge for me. Hatebreed was a huge Atreyu. Influence.
Destroy everything.
Yeah, destroy everything. What makes us weak.
Well, I'm about to knock the mic over right now.
It's so good. Man, my mom took my Hatebreed CDs, like all that shit. Like I was super into Hatebreed. I was like, but Mom, it's such good music. But she just didn't get it. She was like, you're an emo kid. You're going to cut yourself. Let's take all your music away.
It's not a phase. No, know what I love, actually? I love your answer, by the way. I think it's really cool you address all that and you're willing to speak about it. I think it's important to speak about family issues, because everyone thinks like their family's all messed up. Let me tell you something. Everyone's is.
Everyone.
So, but no, it's not that it's not that it's messed up. It's just life is tough. There's no rule book. We all think that there's a path for us, but like there really isn't.
Right.
Like we make our path that we want to be on and things we want to do, but well, again, not to get too deep, it sometimes feel like there is no rhyme or reason for existence. At least I feel like that. And I address that in my music, and maybe that's part of my artistry, and others might not feel like this, but I think it's important to just address anything, because I know, like, this is gonna, I don't know, you'll understand this. I see memes that people comment on and they're like, I never thought anyone else thought this, but it has like 20 million shares. Right. To me, there's such a deep message in that, as funny as the joke might be. And it's that whatever you're going through with yourself or family members, you might think, wow, my second cousin is doing this and no one's family tree is probably crazy. You know what? There's a million or more people out there that went through something similar, the same, or crazier. And it just, people don't talk about it. And I think it's important to address it. So I really applaud that you talk about stuff like that. And I'm going to start touching deeper on things in my music, because it's something I never really did when I was in my previous band. I would still speak about positivity and everything, how I was mentioning with, you know, my current music, LennyJ project, but I never would go too deep into personal stuff. It just wasn't like what we did, and I always wanted to. So I'm really excited to do that now and really talk about my story and my family. And because I know there are people out there, fans I've met, that have similar things in their life that I have, and I've never addressed it as an artist, and I should. Like, I have a brother with autism, and it's like why I do like everything I do and like work hard. And I've met so many fans in that situation, having siblings with disabilities, and I always go out my way and help them get like ramps at the show if they need, or if there's difficulty for them sitting in a venue, I'm like going out my way to make sure the venue could accommodate it, because I don't know, it's out there, and it's just, I never thought to sing about it or talk about it in interviews, because I was lost in this. I need to be in a successful band and do this for a living, and I need to show this persona that I'm touring and traveling and I'm making music. But deep down, like, the real reason to make music is just to talk about what's on your brain. And we get lost in branding it and presenting it, when I think, like Linkin Park and Blink and all those bands do, as cool as they are, they really were being authentic in my eyes. And when I started just making whatever music I wanted and letting it run free, I found the most success. I found radio play on top 40 stuff. I found tours. I found this and that. I got big clients. I work with people I listen to, like the artists you name that you like, that whole era between 2008 and 2014, from, let's say, Silverstein, Atreyu, Escape the Fate, Day to Remember, Prada, Attack. I've gotten, Asking Alexandria, Bring Me. I've gotten to work with, I've gotten to work with a lot of those people. Personally, I've had them sleep over my house now. And I was like, man, when I was in high school, I would go free period and sit alone and listen to their music all angry. And I was looking at, I just had a song come out with Craig Mabbitt called Never Be. And that was really cool. He's a singer of Escape the Fate and Dead Rabbits, amazing vocalist. I remember my friend told me, yo, man, this was 2007, 2008. Hey, so Escape the Fate, you know that band? Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah, well, the singer is gone and they're getting this new guy, and I actually love him as a singer. I think you should listen to the CD. I pre-ordered it. It comes out soon. I'll give it to you when it comes out. And he gave me This War Is Ours. And I will never forget, I listened to that album over and over, nonstop. Loved them. Fell in love with Escape the Fate, Time passes by. Here we are. I have a song with Craig now. I wrote and produced it. Slept over my house. We were going on tour together, but COVID, canceled that. But I was going on tour with a band I did work for, Gravity Well. I'll get into that because that's a good podcast topic. But I was on Facebook yesterday, and my memories said 10 years ago, Lenny says, This War Is Ours. Fast forward 10 years later.
Wow.
I play Fortnite with that artist that I was an angsty teen posting angry statuses about. So, like, it's really cool, to come that far and meet them, because those influences are so strong that, a lot of music happens in 10 years, but I want to work with those people that shaped me, and they're still doing extremely well, because I don't know, I believe their music was authentic and it meant something, and that's why I did stick with it, and that's why you do photographs and videos and have songs with those people as well, and I don't know, it's just a cool, like, it makes me think about life and things coming full circle and how small the world is, especially how we talked about, like, us meeting and all that yesterday on the phone and Crown and all that, so it's funny.
It's crazy. But, like, for me with Escape the Fate, even I was the same way, when I used to watch their studio update videos on YouTube, and like they would be them in like Bless the Fall. I used
Can we bring those back?
They should. They really should.
Don't.
Like,
oh man,
I would love to film that content for them, and I've told them that, like, you guys need to bring that shit back for sure. Like,
we should do it for some of my stuff.
I'm down. I'm super down. So I used to watch Craig, like, jump off of speaker stacks at shows. And I was like, I want to be fucking just like that guy. I want to be that guy when I grow up and start a band, So, and fast forward to 2016, I got to go on tour and work for Escape the Fate and create content for them. And it was like so surreal, like hanging out with Craig Mabbitt, you know, just chilling. It's just insane. Going to the gym with them, like, you know, like little things like that. Like it's so surreal.
You know, it gives you, it kind of puts the world in a new perspective, because you know, we all looked up to those people, and I still hold a high respect for them and see them in that sort of light that I did. But you realize everyone's human, and I think that's the best part of it. Not that magic is lost. I hate to say it that way. I think magic is lost because we know how the business works rather than that they're actually humans. That's not the bad part. I think that's the good part, that you realize, oh, they're waking up and playing video games too, and they spill their tea and coffee and they mess up. You think that they're these gods, and they're really just a bunch of stressed out people making music like us, you know? And so I think it's cool that we've had the opportunity to do that. And I would love for anyone listening that is still on the come up, or maybe they're not freelancers and they're just fans of the podcast and the entertainment industry. A lot of those people are really just like us, and they say that. And sometimes it's good to hear that from people who work with artists like that.
Oh, for sure.
You know? So yeah, they're people. They're out there.
They're out there.
And, you know, they're getting through this one quarantine day at a time. But
I do want to talk about quarantine a little bit. A lot of people have been out of work. They haven't really been making a whole lot of money. They've been relying on unemployment, things like that. For you, to me, it sounds like you've had some pretty consistent work. You've been pretty busy. Can you talk about what you've been doing during quarantine?
Sure. It's all about that hustle. I actually am having the best year I've had in the last 3 or 4 years. Like, as a business, it's only gone up every year. I've had plus every year, you know what I mean, in the green. And that's great because, well, besides the fact that that's the goal,
right?
You know, what I did to do that was just hustle. Like I said, I mentioned, when I was trying to get clients, I was at open mics every night, handing out hundreds of cards, talking to everyone, going to different shows, messaging bands. When I was in the band and I did a cover, I would go on Twitter and I would tweet thousands of tweets a day to all the fan pages saying, hey, fans of Nick Jonas, if you check out this version of Chains or whatever the song, Jealous, whatever it was. Hey, Sia fans. Hey, Kelly Clarkson fans. Hey, whatever. Thousand. If you look on my Twitter, which I don't use anymore, I think I sent like 18,000 tweets in like 4 years. Like, that's what I was doing in quarantine, not Twitter, but like messaging people, working with new bands. And it's all about adapting to the situation. Things slowed down because people couldn't come over anymore and record. But then real quickly, we learned that things aren't going to change. So we need to adapt. So I moved quickly and started messaging people like, hey, I know, you know, it's tough, but like we still got to make some music. And
our connection is spotty.
Oh, is it better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So I was saying, I just did the same thing that I was doing before quarantine and applied that hustle to adapt to quarantine. And I would reach out to the artists I worked with, check in with them. How are you doing? What's up? Because they're my homies too. I've become close friends with a lot of those artists, and I'll get into that after this because it's something that I think people could learn about and take away and progress their business and their career with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just got in touch with new people, introduced myself to new people, even during quarantine, by messaging. And, you know, it's tough cold calls, but I took what I had and I made the most of it. So just even working with you, doing covers, we started talking and we got to meet before quarantine, but that was for my music videos. Yeah. We kept in touch and then we started doing covers because I don't know. I thought we're going to be inside. Why don't we do one together? Exactly. You're always doing them and I'm doing them. So as simple as that, I just reached out to a person I knew and then I did that. And then to make money though, I, like I said, continued with my clients, reached out to new ones. Some of them referred new people to me in quarantine. So that was great. But I was at NAMM, so were you. Got to say what's up there. By going there, I met some new bands. They finally came around right now, and now I'm doing work for them. A bunch of 10 and 8 people too. So, and I guess this is a good segue to something I want to get into if we still have time. I don't know the limit, but during quarantine, I know that's not a great answer. Like, I just made use of what I had, but I did reach out to new people and I did get new clients. And I don't know, you just got to be consistent and not stop. And I know it seems like there's a million no's, and I feel like that. And every day I feel like I'm nowhere where I want to be, but I take a step back and realize, I'm looking out the window here in Los Angeles at the palm trees gently swaying as I do a podcast talking about how I make music with the people I listened to growing up. I'm very grateful and happy about that. But I think a character flaw. Wow, my Staten Island just came out right there. Whoa, New York.
He's walking
my
here.
Coffee, water. Yeah, that just slipped out. Wow, that'll be good. You're gonna keep that. I know it. So I made use of what I had, and that was great. But just reach out to new people, talk to those clients. That's all it is. Put out good work. I started putting out the quarantine stuff while in quarantine. Obviously, that makes sense.
Yep.
And people liked it. They were like, "Whoa, that's cool hip hop stuff. Could you make me a beat like that?" Because people saw it. I made use of Instagram ads. Started trying them out. Started doing $2 a day on certain posts for like 2 days only. So it's like $4 at a time. I think I went up like 150 followers and have new fans and people that message me because of those $2 ads, not big ones. Wow. Just from targeting little places of like, oh, I'm doing a Halsey cover, but I did it how a Day to Remember would. So I target both of those, but I'm also targeting like emo music, pop punk, Blink, and people who like PlayStation and Xbox, because that's what everyone's doing right now. And then I made some beats using PlayStation games, and I targeted PlayStation users, which are often music producers who are often not doing enough to do it themselves because they're too busy playing video games. So then they hire people like us. And that's how I thought of it. And I know that that's like a weird answer, but like, I don't know. That's how I just thought outside the box. Everyone's playing Animal Crossing, so I made a beat of Animal Crossing sounds. I don't even play Animal Crossing, but it made even fans of the game like, wow, your music's sick, because they like the game, and most people like music. So then they started jamming in my music. And then even them jamming, some of those fans referred their musician friends to me, and I got clients through fans. And that helps me a lot. So yeah, and using that, I would go on the road when I was able to, and I would do sessions before shows or on off days with those fans or artists they knew that needed it, or artists from that venue. And I guess I could get back into my freelance life with that, because that's another strategy I use when tour was happening, would be connecting with fans who want to learn about your production. I have so many fans. I think it's really cool. There's tons of fans that follow me and like what I do, and I appreciate that they're into watching me when I'm EQing a snare and producing. And I think it's fascinating that some of those fans, whether they're out of college or they're teeny bopper fans, they're going out and they're using GarageBand and they're sending me them trying to make beats. And I'm like, this is sick. I'm encouraging non-musician fans to want to make beats. I never see that. Like, I don't see Drake fans like, oh man, I want to make a beat like Drake. They just like Drake. These people want to sit with me and learn from me, and they're not beat make. They're fans. They have posters on their wall of Taking Back Sunday and all those bands. They are fanatics. They are, the diehards that make it worth it. And I don't know, that's a business strategy to, set up sessions with them, and they could pay to learn from you education wise. And then 2, you could get sessions on the road with people they know in their town, and then you could work with them during the day, and that's another way to make money. Or 3, they just introduce you to artists they know, and then they come to you for recording or whatever your freelance may be. If you're a writer, if you're a photographer, a videographer, it all applies same way. But yeah, that's going from quarantine things into my freelance life, that's another strategy I did, and both worked in quarantine and outside of quarantine, and it will continue, once quarantine's over. So that was a little thing for yeah.
I think that's a great use of your time while touring as well. I mean, we have hours in the day where we're not doing anything before the show. And so I think it's brilliant that you decided, hey, I'm going to utilize this time that I have to potentially make more money while I'm on the road. I think that's huge. I've made
so much more money
so sick
doing that stuff than the tours by like tenfold at least. But that's how it is with touring. There's between food and things breaking down, this and that, money goes quick. So I was like, I am sitting in the van for 8 hours. Like, I can make a bunch of beats. Right. I can make some instrumentals. I could write some hooks for people. And I know it's exhausting to do work on the road, like extra work. Like when you're doing your main thing, like I bet even when you're doing photography and content for artists and you got to take care of some music video editing, it's a struggle to switch to your normal freelance life when you're on a specific venture. Right. But if you fight through that and you learn to balance it, that's that's what the Madden Bros do. That's what the Feldmans do. That's what the Drakes do. That's what ASAP Rockies do. They're not just the artists. You need to dig deeper and think of every way you could advance your career, because they all help each other too. Just because I'm making money teaching fans how to produce who will not use that in their life, that's not just to make money. Money's great and all that will pay for your bills and literally keep you alive, but those fans are investing in what I do. They like the music and I appreciate that. And I get new friends out of it. A lot of fans become friends, and there is a fine line, between how you act and treat them. And there is respect, and there is, that whole crazy world of what goes on at shows. But you need to have a good head on your shoulders. You need to be smart, respectful, and don't get yourself in trouble by doing those things, not by being low-key, by being a morally right human being. And I know that's based on judgment, but I believe never hurt anyone to make yourself move forward. Everyone should be moving forward at the same time when someone makes an action, if that makes sense at all. And I just use that stuff to make more connections with fans and friends and meet more clients, because it just grows and grows. And then you get to a point where you're like, wow, here we are, it's going. And then you could do more and more. And, that's what we all want. And I guess when it happens, you don't realize it right away, but you need to. You got to snap to it quickly and make use of it, because those opportunities do go away. As we mentioned, the snowball effect the snowball will crumble if it hits a rock. You got to keep it going. But that's a little tour. And also quarantine referral tip: do your outside work during that time, and your fans can introduce you to their friends who make music, because they're fans of a lot of big bands and that's what they post about. But we're all people who have there are millions of bands out there. Not all of them are big. Those fans have friends who are in their houses and only play 2 shows that need recordings, and they're going to need to hire someone. And why not that person be you? Yeah, it can be. There's way too many bands out there to not be able to find work. The work is out there. I know for a fact someone like you, someone like me, anyone hustling really hard, and I encourage everyone to do this. I believe everyone has the potential to work this hard. Right now, me and you and I, we could find a brand new client using Facebook right now. Yeah. By the end of the day. For sure. It's tough. even getting one just through Facebook is hard to message and find them, but it's doable. You can find someone new. And that one photo shoot, if you're just starting, can make you $50 or those mix.
Yeah.
But then you continue working and then they'll pay 100 and then 200. And then it gets to numbers that are ridiculous. But the point is like, it's out there and you just got to do it. It's a hustle and working hard. You know, don't overwork yourself. I end up in the hospital a bunch from doing that, actually.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah, I hadn't taken a day off in quarantine for 2 months. And then the other day I like hit a wall and I was like, I literally just need to sit in bed. Like, everybody go away.
Yeah, I hit that too. I napped one day for like hours and I woke up and I was like, what just happened?
Right.
I haven't napped in years. I don't like remember that. And I was like, what? Like, am I sick? Like what's happening? Why am I so tired? But it just hit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to bring up something that I touched upon very briefly, which I think would be useful for people who work with lots of artists that are the individuals working with them, whether they're a photographer or whatever type of freelancer. If they're also a musician or do things, something I made use of. So in the studio, a band will come to me. I'll write and record with them or just record them. They'll like how I tracked some guitars and played, or they'll like how I played an instrument, and they'll be like, you want to tour with us? And then I started making money as a touring guitarist, and I got to play with all these new artists and bands, and that's a whole different avenue of my career. And I said, you know, I play guitar and I'm an instrumentalist, but I guess I didn't exactly say, I guess I'm a session player too. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize that. But yeah, I go on the road with other acts, and that leads to great opportunities too, because I've gotten tons of clients on tours with those people, and then their fans like me, even if it's other genres. And that's a big thing. I do like every genre. You've caught on to that. Like, yeah. I have Juice WRLD song I did where it starts out with me on acoustic singing, but there's a trap beat behind it, and then I'm doing deathcore growls by the end of it 45 seconds later. And I think people are that's something I'm using to my advantage as a brand, to be everything, and it's making fans of pop and stuff like those Juice WRLD songs, and like I'm doing, you know, Halsey songs in that sense. And they're, you know, those fans usually like the heavier stuff anyway, as she works with Bring Me, right, and all that. But they're not seeing it as me doing heavy music. They think I'm a pop guy still. And they're taking all these rock songs I'm doing and they're like, it's catchy. They're thinking the heaviness and stuff because the melodies are catchy. But I do that because I work with all genres too. Mm-hmm. It's just what I love. And even though it's all genres, it's all the same stuff. I think trap is metal, metal is trap. You know, Day to Remember does Taylor Swift stuff and vice versa, sure. How I said. But I get to tour with heavy bands, but they have catchy choruses and stuff because they write with me, and that's what I offer as a writer. So it has what I do in there, so their fans like it, and then when they listen to me, they're like, I kind of like this too, because they're not realizing like I'm the one in the studio. Like, yeah. We say we love Escape to Fate, we say we love Atreyu, and I love 5 Seconds of Summer, and I love Good Charlotte, and I love Blink, and I love this, and it turns out I actually love John Feldman.
Right.
You know,
right.
like I actually love Joey Sturgis. Yeah. I don't know if I actually like the bands at this point because of the things I liked about them. Like, I don't even know. And I think I want to have that effect. I want to be like an Andrew Wade and a Joey Sturgis and have these fans like, wow, I like this band, this band, and this band. And then you're like, oh, it's Lenny.
Yeah, it's all Lenny.
And I use that by the way you can make that happen, I believe, is by doing well in the studio, working in multiple genres, even though I think genre transcends each other, and that's why I work in the certain ones I do, even though they're multiple. And going on a road with them and touring with them, you get their fans, and then you do session work with their fans or their fans' friends, as I said with the point before this, but they all tie into each other. Like, I hope it comes across as that when people listen to this, that everything I do is fueling each other. Nothing is taking away from each other. It all works. Even by touring as a deathcore guitarist. It makes sense, even though I just dropped a hip hop song as Junior the other day. It still sounds heavy at parts, and you have me writing on that page that it's a mix of Chester vocals, but this, and people are not looking at it through a lens of, oh, this is a rap song. They're like, this is what Lenny does. You know, you could break walls. You got to let people know what you're doing, what it is you want to do, and they will believe what you do because you believe in it.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't know. I feel like I'm very scattered when I talk, like Jack and Off said, but I feel like it makes sense. You know?
No, I'm following you perfect.
Hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. I love talking about this stuff, and I hope it helps a lot of people. I love helping others. There's so many projects I want to do, like for like helping people, but it's so hard to do because there's only one of me, and I do a lot, and I'm just like struggling. I might start hiring though. That's exciting.
That's exciting. That's huge.
Yeah, I might be able to. Like I would make them part of my team rather than outsource. I want them to work for me. Like it'll be cool. But that will come. But yeah, that's what I've been up to in the last hour of us talking with my life. There's a lot more to it, but I don't know the guidelines to a podcast, how deep I should go. But I guess it's about me, so I guess I'm allowed to talk.
Yeah, you're allowed to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
But to my last question for you, you kind of already answered it. So my last question is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
Oh man, I wish I had the confidence I had that I do now that I didn't have when I started. I knew you could make it in the entertainment industry, whether it's being a singer or you're an actor or you're a juggler, that I knew you could do it. A Day to Remember made me realize that if you could come from swamplands in Florida and take over the world, you can do it, you know, like as long as you believe in yourself. And I always did. That's why I pursued it. That's why I decided to switch majors in college. And then instead of going to law school, I decided to get a waiter job and produce, and then quit that waiter job when I shouldn't have, so I could make money only producing and force myself. I put myself in a sink or swim position. I wish I did that earlier. I wish I pushed myself more, because the human body could handle a lot more than we think. We could take a lot harder hits than we mentally think we can. And I wish because I've been thrown down and got back up and I'm doing better than ever. I wish I wasn't scared to get thrown on my face and break some bones from the start. I put my toe in for a few years to feel the water and then got used to it. I should have jumped in.
Got you. I like that. No, That's a great answer to that question. And
there's nothing you could do that's going to hurt you so bad that you're never going to make it in life. Yep. Like, are you kidding me? Do you know what I've done in the last year? If I would have messed up something when I was 18, it's, years later, like it's not, unless you go to jail for like life. That's extreme though. Right. But you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to make a wrong move or book a wrong show that's going to stop your career. You're not. You're going to do something that's going to stink for a little bit, that might hurt you when you thought it was a good idea. But that's called a lesson.
Exactly.
You can't be scared to learn those lessons, even though the lessons are terrible sometimes. Yeah. Well, no, they're good. They just feel terrible when you learn. So, yep, that's my advice to anyone. Not even starting. If you're doing it and you're still scared, just do it. And I'll be taking my Nike endorsement with that drop.
Wow.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. So if anybody wants to hire you for some session work or production work, mixing, mastering, touring, when that eventually happens, where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
They could get in touch with me anywhere, really. So you could go to my website, LennyJaudio.com. You could check out things I've done. That's for writing, producing, mixing, mastering. You could reach out to me on Instagram if you want. Just you can follow me there at LennyJ13. I have all work I do. I do some covers there. I got originals out. I'm on YouTube. It's LennyJ as well. I'm on TikTok making some funny stuff. LennyJ Morales 13 because LennyJ 13 is taken.
That motherfucker.
And they have like 20 followers and haven't used it in 3 years. So yeah, but those are all the places you could find me, and you could reach out to me in any way, ask me anything. I'll help you with whatever you need. I love answering questions about things like this. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you need a vent to me about anything, my fans vent to me and they tell me such crazy stories about their lives, and I can't believe they share it. But fortunately, the person I am, I'm accepting of whatever it is they're saying, and I be that ear from them, and I only advise them when they ask. It's always good just to listen. You learn a lot by just listening, and we talk a lot. And I guess that's why I'm a little hesitant to talk a lot during a podcast, because I want to hear what you have to say as well. And I don't want to be the one talking the whole time, which is counterproductive to the fact that this episode is about me.
Yep.
I guess that's just the person I am. But yeah, you know, you could reach me on all social media for whatever reason. For if you want me to tour with you, if you want to hire me, if you want me to produce and mix for you, I can do that. If you want me to write with you, we could do it over Skype or FaceTime, whatever works. If you want me to tour with you when this is over, I could play guitar, I could play bass. If you want me to sing on your tracks, I'll do features. I do background vocals for people, just extra vocals in there. I literally will do anything and everything with music. And I look forward to hearing from some people that listen to this, because it's always great to meet the new people, and there's such talent out there. And I really love helping others bring what's in their head to life. A lot of people know what they want, they just don't know how to do it. And I think I'm great at facilitating projects, whatever the role may be. Even as a session player, I feel like I help the live show just from touring a lot and offering what it is I do. So yeah, that's how you can reach me. All Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, website, and yeah.
Perfect.
All those. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from people. And it's, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on Project Freelance and sharing your story with everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've been listening to your stuff for quite a while now, since we met a few years ago. And I'm, again, annoyed. Not again, I didn't say it. But I am annoyed we didn't start doing things earlier, because there's no reason we shouldn't have been talking like this since the day. But I do applaud that you got photos of me and made some money the first day we met.
That's right, son.
That's what I'm that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's how you work. And then you never know what's going to come around years later. 10 years ago, I was writing "This War Is Ours" on my Facebook. 10 years later, you know, I record those people. And then 2 years ago, we do a photo shoot together, but then 2 years later, we're doing real business together, to the point where I'm doing records for artists signed to management companies and labels, and you're part of that too. Mm-hmm. You know, you never know what's going to come around. So my last advice for everyone out there: be kind to everyone, be a good person. If you don't like other people or how they do things, please understand that everyone has a way of doing things, and that their way, though it's not your way, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong if it's different. But if they're hurting others to move forward, you know, just don't work with them then, and make sure those you care about don't get burned by those people. But be a very kind person in life. Be that person you wish you had when you didn't have anyone, and that'll get you real far with your business endeavors, because kindness, hard work, and hustle, and just being an ear for someone will get you further than any talent ever will. And don't forget that. Just always work hard.
All right, so that was LennyJ. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Project Freelance. If you liked it, please leave a rating and some feedback. That helps this podcast grow on the charts of whatever podcasting app you're listening to this on. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you leave a rating and feedback and take a screenshot of it, you can actually DM me at Project Freelance on Instagram with a screenshot of your feedback, and I will send you out a signed photo print from one of the abandoned places I've explored. So if you guys are interested in something like that, all you got to do is leave feedback on the podcast and send me a screenshot of it, and I'll get that out to you ASAP. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will talk to you next week on Project Freelance. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, and go create something.